Having just spent the last 2 weeks sinking 60 plus hours into beating Elden Ring's base game, now felt like no better time than ever than to try out the review key I received for Kristala, an indie Souls-like in early access. From initial first impressions, it's far from perfect.
Oh god, I started lagging right as I climbed up that.
But there are a few things that it does that I think will help it stand out from other games like it. In this Souls-like, we play as a cat person, fighting to figure out and remove a curse affecting the people and land around us. Crouching puts us on all fours, where we can assassinate enemies, crawl through small openings, and generally sneak around the level. We can also climb ledges, walk across ropes, run up or along specific walls, all working alongside the regular fighting and dodging mechanics of a Souls-like. Coming straight from Elden Ring, I found this nice and refreshing. The world itself is dark and gritty, and I like how this reflects on its people and the environments. Even the quests from some of the characters I came across fit in well with its atmosphere. I also enjoyed a moment where the combat felt less Souls-like and more action RPG when I was hacking through waves of filler mobs that just kept spawning all around me. One of its most notable struggles right now is the character dialogue. I like the variety in characters and the voice actors that go with it, but the dialogue goes on for far too long a lot of the time. They have interesting things to say and they help expand on the world around me, but the static camera and having to just stand there eventually had me skimming through the subtitles and skipping over the last half of whatever the characters were trying to say. On the other hand, there were some memory items that I found that I could activate, and then it would play dialogue as I continued to walk around the world and move through the level, and I really liked finding those. And for the boss fights, I like how they're all distinctly different from each other. But the boss just past the crypt has a lot of attacks where he leaves effects on the ground, and those effects last longer than the animation accompanying it, making the battle frustrating at best. The spikes that he creates eventually go back into the ground, but for the next little while after they've disappeared, the effects of them are still present. And this drove me up the wall trying to figure out how to fight this guy.
Oh, I see the spikes were still on the ground.
But it's important to remember, Kristala is still in early access with more content and updates to come. And while I've set the game back down for now, I am excited to check it out again when the next big update drops. Because overall, I would have to say I enjoyed my experience.
Hey, there we go, I think.
Although in its current state, if I'd paid full price for the game, $38.99 Canadian, I don't think I would have been as impressed.